Hello and welcome to tutorial number 24 on the feeling, and that is on this sound. Specifically this one. And in the track. Right, let's get cracking. Well, this sound, like so many others, is in Citrus. So let's do that. Alright, so I've done this a lot of times in this tutorial series. A nice trick I like to do in Citrus, and, well, any other synth that will accept a sample as a wave cycle, there we go, finally, is to just take a kick drum and drop it in. Why always a kick? Don't know. They always seem to sound the best. Can never find anything that sounds nicer. So, all we do is we select an area and then hit the loop button and then move the edges to find somewhere that we like. So, headphone warning, this is going to blow your ears out. Might want to turn the volume down. So then just find somewhere that we like. Something like that. And then we just drop it in. Pitch it down. Instant bass, basically. Pitch it down even more. And that's basically how we started. So, obviously, I'll never know the exact kick that I used for this, but I suppose I could always look at it. I mean, it had this sort of shape. That was the shape. Happy hunting. Anyway, so here's what we've got so far. So if you look at the waveform at the top, and by the way, just click this to change mode. So the waveform at the top, you see obviously there's some high frequencies missing. Why? Don't know. But anyway, so I could add them back in by just sort of drawing them in here, I guess. Actually, would that work? But what I like to do with sounds like this, to get the high back, which you lose when you pitch it down loads, is to just FM it to something. So, I FM'd it into 2 a bit, and just chose a sort of rough shape to add more high frequency crap to it. And I settled on this sort of shape, so almost a saw. This sounds quite cool, actually. So operator 2 was to add some more high frequencies, and operator 3 was just an octave down, FM it again. To add a bit more sort of like low down, grainy, throaty kind of ness to it. So, you know, I just FM it to a low frequency, basically. So something like that. Operator 4 was actually set to noise, and to do that you just turn up this NS, which is short for noise, all the way up to the top. And now it's just noise. So if I play just number 4, and as I turn this down, actually it doesn't do anything when you automate it. But you get the point, it's just noise mix. So I have a separate noise operator and just fade it in as much as I want. Something a bit like that. Now, I suppose this probably wasn't really a conscious decision, but in a moment we're going to do some pretty cool filtering to it, which will make it sound a lot more voicey and vowely. And noise adds frequencies everywhere, which makes voicey vowely frequency manipulation a lot easier to hear. I suppose that's why there's a sort of noise oscillator in vocodecs. So that's Citrus. Now it's effect time. Now the first thing was a fruity send, which was just for volume automation, but it's never used in the track. At the end of the track here, before I started making the first drop, I just made loads of random sounds that I was thinking of using for it, and I used it here. Not very exciting. Alright, so the first actual effect is an EQ, where I just did I suppose this is just for taste, really. And because we want to have a much more noticeable bass line, it's a lot more bass heavy now. So the most important effect here, by far, is a Formant filter. Now at the time, I don't think FL Studio had Effector, or if it did, I didn't know about it. effector is excellent for making really cool, vocally, voicey, sort of wah-wah, funky bass lines. Really cool. But I didn't use that. I used a free VST, which I will forget to put in the description. Alright, called Formant 8, which is quite difficult to find on Google because a game has been released since called Formant 8, so good luck with that. Well, I think maybe it was a company called Formant 8 or something, I can't remember. But whatever. So what Formant 8 does is it basically is just, I suppose, an EQ with vowel-like presets. So, strictly speaking, if you wanted to, you could take an EQ2 and just make a Formant filter. So if I do Edison, ooh, fiddlesticks, I'm recording a video, we'll see if this works. Okay, I hope there's no feedback. Ooh, ee, ah, something like that. There we go, something like that. So let's look at the spectrum. As you can see, some frequencies are clearly more pronounced than others. So the point is there are some particular frequencies that stand out with each vowel, and all you need to do is figure out which frequencies these are, and, in an EQ, emphasize the hell out of them. Now I'm pretty sure if you just Google, like, Formant table, you could probably find which frequencies these are, right? Boom. So for each different vowel, here are the frequencies you need to emphasize. But, luckily, Formant 8 comes with a little something for you. So, let's have a listen to that. Ah. And if you look in the spectrum analyzer up here, you can see that the big peaks are basically just EQ peaks that are sort of moving up and down to their different positions. It's just like automating between the positions. Oh, come on. Ah! So this is pretty cool VST. I'm not sure if I mentioned it's free, but it's free. So all I did was, I just picked random vowels for each of these, and I happened to settle on and oo. Actually, and or, and I left this one as it was. So that's basically it, really. So then I just automated these a bit. So if you take a look at the automation clips, you can see that the X coordinate goes up and down, Y coordinate just goes up. So there's nothing too special going on. So if you didn't know already, to automate something in FL, you just wiggle it, tools, last tweaked, boom. Last knob you turned, you can now automate. And that goes for the Y, and next to last tweaked is obviously the X. So I shall put some notes in the playlist and do some automating. Right, bloody hell, that took forever, but here's a melody. Get your ears around this. Sorry about the metronome. So, let's put some automation on this, bloody hell. Right, so here's the automation, roughly moving in time with the notes. Pretty cool. Except, obviously, you can see I was a hell of a lot less detailed with the automation on this. Let's take a look. That's it. It's the only automation it ever does. X up and down, Y up. Now this sort of thing, so this sort of wah-wah, vowel-y kind of sounding lead, if you're going to do this, use effector. Personally, I think it sounds much better. Something like this. Sounds really cool. Highly recommend it, but here we are using Formant. Oh, one final tip though, turn up the resonance. More accentuated vowels then. So that was up to max. Two more effects, first of which is a wave shaper. Bit of distortion. I basically just went, whoops, how the hell did I fuck that up? Now it's a bit more complicated than that, using my genius techniques of inserting random points and just sort of doing this, which is obviously pointless, but... Oh, hello, that did actually make a difference. Oh, fair enough. I stand corrected. Seems pretty cool. Oh, whatever, I'll show you the original, no one cares. Right, here's the original, bloody hell. Alright, here we are again. Final effect. Oops. Equal 2. Turn off the 1, because I was too lazy to change it to a high pass. Turn up the high a bit. Now obviously this isn't going to sound exactly the same because I didn't use the same kick sample when I dragged it in at the beginning, and FM is pretty finicky. I probably wouldn't have used the exact same settings, and the wave shaper wouldn't have been exactly the same, but more or less this is how that sound is done. I think it sounds pretty cool. Little tip for you, if you want long vibrato at the end of the note that sounds cool, use quick slide notes up and down like this. Sounds pretty cool. Well, that's absolutely everything for this sound. I spent a lot longer making this melody than I did doing the rest of the video, but what are you going to do? Fun evening. Right then, see you in the next one. Have a wonderful time until then, and laters.